It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish. If this is your very first time tuning into the Divas That Care, a huge welcome. The Divas That Care is going to be going into its 12th season here, and we are listened to in over 30 countries around the world. And it's because of all of our amazing listeners, our tribe, everybody that's following us on our journey that have been a huge support and a part of this. So we're so thankful for that. I have an amazing woman that's going to be on our program. Her name is Michelle Bateman. And Michelle she's got such a great story. And it's always a pleasure to chat with her because she's got such amazing energy, and I love chatting with her. So welcome back to the show, Michelle.
Thanks for having me. I'm so honored to be back.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so happy that you're back because I know that you're such a busy diva. You have so many hats that you have on. You're doing so many great things, and you're helping so many people all over the place. And before we kind of dive into that, would you mind introducing yourself to our new listeners today?
Yeah, welcome everybody. My name's Michelle Bateman, and I am a confidence and clarity coach. And so what I love doing is helping women and soulpreneurs get clear on what matters the most to them and helping them align to that. And then we bust through the blocks that are holding them back from creating this amazing life so that they can confidently walk into any room knowing that they have immense value to offer the world. And so, I love doing that and sharing my own transformational journey of how I went from being lost and unhappy and thinking I'd never find happiness again to creating this amazing life for myself once I learned the tools that now I share with other women to change your mindset and your thoughts and your beliefs that will move you forward, and knowing that we all deserve to create a life that we love. And so I never would have imagined in those really low, dark times that I would be where I am today.
I love that. Oh, my gosh. It's so amazing and so inspiring. I want to ask you, why do you call it a soul journey?
For many reasons, it's a journey. It's not a destination. It's not something that we arrive at. It is a journey that our soul embarks on for the rest of our lives to step more and more into who we were created to be, to listen to our soul and what is it calling, what is it here to do, what is that purpose that we are meant to serve. I remember being in my 40s, sitting in my backyard, reading a book, and it mentioned that we all have a purpose in the world. And my brain went into automatic panic because I was like, how am I 40 and no one's ever told me that I have a purpose? Oh my God, what is my purpose? I don't know what it is. How do I figure this out? How did I not know? And this panic set in, and the quiet voice inside my head said, it has something to do with love. And that was the first little message that I got. And I didn't know anything further than that, but it was, loving myself, and in doing that, the healing that came and how I was able to show up differently in the world, and then helping others love themselves and bring more love into the world is kind of all what that soul journey involves.
I think it's wonderful, and it just really hits me in a very positive way, because I thought, okay, because I always feel like I'm on this journey. And when you're saying it's part of your soul and finding your purpose, I always say, yeah, what is my purpose? What am I here for? Because I always feel like there's so much more. And I think that's why I really started the Divas That Care, is because I was surrounding myself with so many inspiring women like yourself. And I was like, it was always connecting with my soul and uplifting me in ways that I could never really express to others.
Yeah, that's so true, is that when we really tap into that within ourselves, what comes is, things we probably couldn't even have imagined in the past when we just, stay in our head or are in the hustle and the grind of life, that, we just need to take that time to slow down, to listen to what the voice inside of us is sharing and guiding us to. And we all have that inner guidance. It's just how do we tap into that and listen to that? And then have the confidence and the courage to take action when we hear those messages. Because sometimes they're way outside of our comfort zone and feel scary as hell, and we don't know what to do with them.
Isn't that the truth? It's so crazy. So today we're going to be talking about kicking off the year with greater impact. So let's talk about that. Why is it important to start 2022 really strong? I know that we've all experienced a lot of craziness in the last little while, and why is it so important this year? Like, I've heard different things about 2022 being so many things. It could be a powerful year in regards to angels and just how the world, energy around the world. But what is it for you?
You know, it's a few things. I've also heard that this year is, about relationships. And I think right now, our world is lacking so many things. We're lacking connection. We're lacking empathy. We're lacking light and love and all of the things. So if we focus on being of impact instead of getting sucked into the craziness, which I have, gone down many rabbit holes that have held me back. So I really wanted to focus on how can I have impact in the world, in my relationships, in my business, with myself. And what that begins with is looking at why. Why do I want to do this? What is important to me? Having that clarity is the first step, because I can't create anything if I'm not clear on what that is. And so for me, part of the soul is being aligned. And when we're out of alignment, things don't flow. So my business, my life, how I show up in private, in public, all of those things need to be in alignment with honesty and integrity so that I am congruently moving forward in the world. So when I get clear on what are all of those things and why are they important to me, I feel like that's the first step that we need to do. And Simon Sinek became famous for his TED Talk on knowing your why. Because your why is what's going to drive your goals. It's what's going to get you out of bed in the morning. It's what's going to drive you, when you feel challenged, you're going to remember why. Why do I want to make an impact? How can I bring something to the world that's going to help the people around me move forward? And when they move forward, the ripple effect of that in the world is so powerful.
Exactly. So when you're working with an individual, is this what you're really focusing on too, is finding what their why is, diving deep into who they are and getting the purpose out of them?
Yeah, because I feel like it all has to have alignment. And so we really want to get clear on what's important to you, what are your values, what are all of that, so everything we create is in alignment with that. Because when we're out of alignment, we, will hold ourselves back. We will sabotage. So we really need to make sure that everything is in alignment so that we can go forward confidently and feeling like everything is in place the way that it needs to be. So, maybe that's growing your business to the next level. Maybe that's having the courage to start your own business. But we really start with clarity first. If you don't know who you're going to serve or what impact you want to have and how you're going to help them, you're not going to be able to clearly convey what it is you want to do unless we get that clarity first.
Exactly. Can I ask you, Michelle, do you work with just people that are in the business area, or do you work with people like young women that are coming up and, trying to figure out their life, and maybe even stay-at-home moms that are just, trying to work on the next stage of their life?
I work with a lot of different women, and I love how just organically things have evolved in my own business, that I first started out wanting to share what I did in my journey to change my life from feeling, stuck in this empty marriage and being a stay-at-home mom and thinking I had no options because I didn't have an income. I didn't have the freedom to do what I needed and wanted to do. And so if you're a stay-at-home mom, and, I remember a friend said to me, he's like, Michelle, if you don't get a life of your own, your kids are going to grow up and not need you anymore, and you're going to be the crazy cat lady. I was like, oh, you're right. And so as moms, we kind of give our whole lives to our kids and to our family and to our homes, and we lose who we are. And then they get older, and we're lost because we don't know what to do with ourselves. And so I really help women discover who they are and find out what's most important to them, and then how do they create a life they love. And then that just kind of evolved into them saying, well, I have this business, or I have this idea that I started or that I want to start. And, I knew the marketing background that I had and all the information that I learned to start my own business that I could then share with them. So it just kind of evolved over time. And now I'm even working with, I have an 11-year-old client, I have a 21-year-old client, and the awesomeness of being able to instill healthy mindset, beliefs, and tools from such an early age is mind-blowing to me, because they're not going to have to struggle the way that I did and the way a lot of us did, because we just didn't know how to manage those thoughts in our head that sabotage and create so much chaos that is unnecessary when we learn how to manage that. So having the opportunity to share that with younger girls and young women is such a blessing, because they can now change the rest of their life with having these tools.
I think that is so powerful. I am a very big believer and a supporter of working with younger women in order to get that, because we're breaking cycles too, and we don't even realize it. But the cycles that we've lived through, and we don't even realize it, and it was never intentional. It's just how things were. But if we know better, then we do better.
And think about it. We grew up in a generation where the women before us had to fight for us to drive and vote and work. And had they not done the work that they'd done, that wouldn't just be a normal given for us. That was not the way it was in the past. So they did their work so that our generation could shift and change. And now I believe our generation has a job to do so that the next generation will embrace, self-love and their self-worth, and have the confidence to go out and do all the things that they want to do in the world and not hold themselves back.
I love how you said that, because it's so true. A lot of people think, well, you've gotten all this, then it ends. But it doesn't. It's part of the journey. There's always evolvement, and we're evolving as a species all the time, that we have to learn, we have to grow and make us better, because then that in return will make the world a better place.
Right. And we're never done. I would love to say, you know what, I'm done. I got the shirt. I've graduated, and I have no more life lessons to learn. But just as much as I do, there's just constant things that we have to learn and grow through, and opportunities and relationships that prevent the opportunity to look within more and find more of our own deeper healing and more of our own truths that are revealed as we begin to grow.
And you know what? I think as I got older too, I realized I don't know anything. And, when I was younger, I felt like I knew everything and I could do everything. And as I'm getting older, and the more I am actually learning, the more I realize I don't know anything. And I'm learning more, and I'm like, I don't know anything. And it's almost that cycle, but it's frustrating, because then you feel, okay, am I doing this right? Because there seems to be even more and more to learn all the time. But you're right. When you get to that point that you think, oh, well, I'm done learning, I'm like, oh, I never want to get to that, because I think it's bad to say, then I think I would be dead, because I need to always be learning, because then I know what's going on. I don't know.
And learning isn't always comfortable. It's not always easy and pretty and rainbows and sunshine. It can challenge us to our core sometimes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But when you can look at it as it's an opportunity, it's not here to hurt me. It's here for me to challenge me to learn and grow. And what I've really learned, especially over the last summer, earlier this year, I lost my dad. And I really thought I was equipped to handle that, because I believe in everything happens for a reason and a purpose, and, nothing is forever. So I knew the things going into it, yet it brought back up all of my masculine trauma and gave it to me all on a nice silver platter and said, here, you can now heal this on a deeper level, because who I was when I healed it years ago and who I am now is different. And so there was deeper healing that I was more equipped to handle. I didn't feel like it at the time when it all came up, but really seeing it was just an invitation for me to go deeper and set more things free for myself, so that I could step into who I'm meant to be on this level and have a greater impact and have more empathy for, more things that I've gone through in my life.
You know what? I would say I agree with that completely. I think that we're throwing things at us that we don't expect and that we don't think we can handle, and it makes us stronger. And yeah, we learn so much from that, but then at the end, we know that, okay, we're helping more people because of what we have learned in that process. And we have this journey that sometimes we think, really, is that right? I didn't ask for that, but that's what I got. And I'm going to make the best of it.
I've had that, really? Seriously? This is what you're throwing at me? Many times. And we have two choices. We can either resist or we can accept and learn. So,
exactly.
one has less suffering, and sometimes it might take us longer to get to that space of acceptance, but the importance is just seeing that it is the lesson for you. And when you go into it looking for the lessons and the growth and the healing, you'll have way less suffering when you do that.
I love that. And because it's true. We don't always make the right decision. There's been many forks in my road that I should have taken the other journey, but you know what? It brought me to where I am today, and I'm just very thankful, and I'm very grateful for all of that. So, Michelle, one of the things I have is that I'm going to ask you, do you have, for our listeners today, is there any workshops, is there events, is there things that are going on that they can be a part of? I know a lot of people feel like they're alone out there, and they just really want to have that community. They just want to have people that they can talk to, that they can relate to. Is that something that you offer?
Yeah, I do. And community, our soul tribe, is such a big part of what I do in my business. And again, it was one of those things that just organically evolved, where women were coming to me saying, I've started this journey. I don't have like-minded people. I don't have people that I can share or people that are supporting my growth and my moving forward. And so really seeing how important it is to have that soul tribe of like-minded people that are going to support you and encourage you and push you to move forward, instead of, the people that take our energy and hold us back and not encouraging us to step into who we were meant to be. So I have, two different ways where I support women, whether it's, in your personal growth and it's your mindset that you want to overcome some of the challenges and the struggles that you feel are holding you back. I have a 3-day event called Create a Life You Love. And it's a beautiful, safe container where we come together and we look at, self-love and our beliefs about ourselves, and then we break through the blocks that are holding us back and are given some really powerful tools to move forward. And that would translate to confidence in life, in business, in relationships, and all the things in our personal journey. And then for the business journey, I have created my Soulful Impact Business Academy. And that allows, new entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs that are looking for more clarity and more success to fast track their business to the next level in just 8 weeks. And I use a unique approach that guides everyone step by step to get clear on the solutions that they want to provide. And then they develop a branded framework that will get results and create a unique angle of how they can solve the problem, so that they are now seen as the go-to solution in their industry. And so in doing that, in me creating the impact that I want to have and seeing them have the impact they want to have, the ripple effect of that in humanity is so powerful, and that's, everything. And so when you get together and you're not doing that journey alone, you learn from each other's experiences, you can brainstorm, and it's really powerful.
Oh my gosh, that's excellent. We're so excited that you're doing that. And what I'm going to be doing for all of our listeners and posting that information on all of our social media, because I think it's really important that you check out Michelle's page here, The Soul Journey. And so I'll be putting all your links on our stuff, Michelle. And last thing I want to ask you, is there any tips and there any tools that, our listeners can use today to help them on their journeys?
Yeah, there's one really important thing is let's try English again. Shifting your focus to being of service. So how can I make a difference in people's lives? And so often we're focused on me and what's in it for me and how did you disappoint me? But when we can flip that to be of service in our life and in our business and, focusing less on, maybe the follows or the likes in our business or making more money, it's shifting our focus to being of service. And what that does is that's also a great tool when fear comes up. Because when we're in fear, we're actually being very selfish. And I know that might be hard for some people to hear. However, hear me out, that when we're in fear, the only person we're focused on is us. What if I fail? What if I'm judged? What if they don't like me? What if I don't do a good enough job? And I is the only person that we're focused on when we're in fear. So when we shift to being of focus, our focus to being of service, we take the emphasis off self and put it out into the world. And so that's a really, really powerful tool that when I am afraid, how can I turn that around and be of service?
Perfect. Thank you so much, Michelle. This was a great podcast. I really enjoyed chatting with you today. And you are going to be back on the program pretty soon here, aren't you?
Yes, we have a couple more episodes of some really juicy stuff that we're going to be sharing on relationships and mindset. So I'm really excited to be sharing more with all of the divas and inspiring them to create a more amazing, fulfilled, soulful life for themselves.
Yay, I am so excited. Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for taking the time to chat with me today.
And you are very welcome. Can I share one last thing?
Oh, yes,
One last thing is the Soulful Impact Business Academy is starting at the end of January, and there's an introductory offer that right now is on 50 to 60% off, depending on if you take the Soulful experience or the VIP experience. This is a one-time. There's only a couple spots left, so if that's something that you're interested in, now would be the time to take the action on that. So I wanted to make sure your listeners knew about that awesome deal.
Well, what we'll do is that we will post the link for that with our program today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Candace, for having me. Talk soon, everybody.
And thank you so much to all of our amazing listeners. As I said, we're going to be going into our 12th season here, and I'm so excited about that. There's going to be some great things happening. And make sure that you check out all of our other hosts at divasthatcare.com. You don't want to miss all their programs. There's some pretty amazing ones out there. Until next time, everyone, have a fantastic day, and make sure that you do something kind.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.